Every few months, Steam Next Fest rolls around the corner, tires ablazing, and slams straight into my hard drive. Once the smoke clears, a few gleaming treasures or fascinating odds and ends always manage to reveal themselves. My name is Boss Sauce, and here's what I liked. So let's start with System Shock. This is a long-anticipated remake of one of my all-time favorite games, helmed by Night Dive Studios and published by Prime Matter. As a hacker, you're caught sticking your fingers into the secret files of the uber-powerful Trioptimum Corporation. You're black-bagged and brought before Edward Diego, a Triop executive who cuts you a proverbial deal with the devil. Remove the ethical constraints of Trioptimum's advanced AI, Shodan, in exchange for all charges dropped and your own sweet version of a military-grade cyber implant. After accepting this Faustian bargain, you awaken 6 months later from a healing coma on Citadel Space Station. However, something has gone incredibly wrong. The staff is dead, the service bots have revolted, hungry mutants and creepy cyborgs are roaming the halls. It's up to you to put things right before Shodan wipes your species from the face of history. As with the 1994 cult classic, System Shock has your hacker blasting, puzzling, and hacking your way through an intricate and dangerous retrofuturistic neon hell, while a killer AI hinders your every move. Supplies are scarce at first, and your enemies are numerous and deadly, making this reimagining feel more horror-oriented than ever. The arsenal has plenty of utility and variety, including multiple fire modes on each gun and ammo types for the various weapons. The ability to corner peek or stealthily slip past an encounter is just as important as using the right ammo against the right targets, and certain elements from later immersive sims have been backdated into this design, such as a freight elevator for storage, or a recycler that trades vending machine credits for junk. Even so, this is not just a shooter. You'll have plenty of combat drugs, cyber implants, and hacking software to round out your toolkit. This demo consists of a single level of sprawling bulkheads and cramped maintenance tunnels, but there's plenty of hidden nooks and crannies to explore. And so far, exploring it all has been a pleasure. Its 80s cyberpunk aesthetic and chunky retro-styled visuals, well complemented by the tense electronic soundtrack, commendable voice work, and overall fantastic audio design. Now, the original Kickstarter for the System Shock remake began way back in 2015, so I've been keeping an eye on this for a really long time. It's safe to say that while I've seen many iterations of Citadel Station, the newest one still seems to be worth the wait. Turn the lights off, crank up the sound, and go play this demo right now. Phantom Brigade takes all the things that made tactical series like Front Mission and XCOM great and mashes them together with a few novel approaches. On the surface, Phantom Brigade looks like what would happen if Fortnite finally added those Gundams, but the gameplay here could not be more different. Your game opens with a mecha training exercise where you're testing out a prototype prediction engine that allows you to see future moves of your opponents in 5-second increments. An enemy nation launches a preemptive strike during this exercise, your superior officer is killed, and your little squad is forced to fight their way towards a tactical retreat. One impressive cutscene and a simple follow-up mission later, we see Phantom Brigade begin to march its various features in front of the player. Post-battle brings up a salvaging screen where you can rip select pieces out of your defeated foes. You can then take these individual bits and pieces to customize your own mechas as you see fit, down to the paint jobs on individual parts. An overland map shows off a large amount of sectors to retake, and getting the oppressed homeland defenders on your side is paramount to long-term victory. Sometimes these Homeland Militia units will even join in on the struggles and lend you their firepower during defense objectives. On top of all these gameplay features, the presentation is gorgeous. Sound effects are crunchy and impactful, with metal crashes and fiery explosions hitting the ears like a frontal assault. Music is appropriately battle-ready yet unobtrusive, and the voice acting also hits a high level of quality. Plus, look at these really cool cutscenes with giant robots blowing things up and smashing around. I'm looking forward to fighting this metal revolution 5 seconds at a time. Inkbound is a novel take on the roguelite from Shiny Shoot, the developers of the excellent deck-building roguelite Monster Train. This game turns tactical turn-based gameplay on its head by embedding cooperative elements throughout the entire experience. Tackle the game's randomized challenges with teams of 3, and work together to conquer the depths of each storybook-based plane of reality, upgrading your selected class with new abilities and mutators along the way. Combat is based on action points, and repositioning during a fight lets your feisty little fighter pick up these blue power nodes which refuel your stamina and allow you to make longer ability chains within a single turn. The challenge starts out light, but big boss battles and a good amount of enemy variety quickly make things more interesting. Of special note are these huge amounts of available upgrades. While the game feels rather opaque when explaining exactly what these choices do to affect your playstyle, experimentation seems to be highly encouraged here. Presentation is also top-notch, with a gorgeous illustrated art style complementing excellent voiceovers and sound effects. This is a really promising take on a genre that usually stays in the single-player realm, and both of us found the demo to be really enjoyable as a co-op experience. Now we're gonna move on to some low-key good, solid stuff that just wasn't super flashy. Dark and Darker is a dungeon-crawling battle royale with emphasis on 3-man teams and risk-reward looting. Create a character from one of 6 classes, dive into a dungeon, and combat the creepy monsters within it while keeping an eye out for treasures and enemy players. Stealth mechanics like turning off torches and sneaking through the halls can definitely pay off. The whole time a fog wall's closing in and forcing remaining dungeoneers into a tight circle that they almost teleport out of before it's too late, else risking certain death in the dungeon. While the game is kinda clunky to play and not super pretty to look at, the idea of putting the mechanics of something like PUBG or Tarkov into a sword and sorcery setting is a pretty cool one. It's pretty rough now as it stands with only 2 sorta small maps to stomp around in, but this game is definitely one to keep an eye on for fans that like those hardcore experiences. Return is a mysterious Commodore 64-styled 2D exploration game that places you in the space boots of a doomed explorer. You've crash-landed during cryosleep on the way to a neglected off-world colony, and you're stuck looking for enough spare parts to repair your spaceship, leave this accursed planet, and return to your wife. Combat is built around soulsy stamina management and dodge rolling complementing exploration and item discovery. The shadowy graphics and minimalistic environmental storytelling do wonders for Return's foreboding atmosphere, and the ominous tone of the few dialogues in-game lean heavily into cultic horror elements. Definitely looking forward to exploring more of this one. On the other hand, we have Full Void, which is another cinematic platformer more in line with Out of This World, Heart of Darkness, or other 16-bit masterpieces of the era. Full Void drops you right into the action from the start and explains little to nothing, but players quickly glom onto the fact that they are a tech-savvy teenager trying to survive during a mysterious alien invasion. Your only weapon is a superhuman level of grip strength and a little computer. This one plays out more like a platform puzzler with simplistic controls and quick-moving puzzles, as well as lots and lots of character death sequences driving you towards the next section of the level. It's an enjoyable and beautiful demo that really pulls deeply from Amiga-style graphical influences and leans on period-faithful soundscapes to make a creepy, captivating experience. Speaking of aliens and captivating experiences, we have Xenonauts 2. It's XCOM. No, I don't mean XCOM, I mean XCOM. Fans of turn-based strategy on both a management and squad-level scale will be right at home here, but if you went hard on the creaky old grandfathers of alien invasion defense games back in the day, you'll notice a lot of the mechanics work in the similar way. Your customizable soldiers all have a certain amount of time units to act on their turns, and a huge variety of actions available to take place within this framework include stance and firing mode changes, aimed shots, grenades, and much more. Xenonauts charges you with commanding a force to fight off a coming alien invasion, which not only includes performing clandestine air and ground combat missions, but also researching the aliens' weaknesses, building new cutting-edge technology, establishing bases, and battling their human co-conspirators known only as the Cleaners. Old grognards and new school strategy heads alike will want to keep an eye on this one. Shadow of Doubt is incredibly ambitious and probably my second most anticipated pick beyond the System Shock remake. Take a procedurally generated 90s influenced dystopian city, plop the player somewhere in the middle of it, and let them loose with a few freelance detective tools. The 90-minute demo is impressive here to say the least, and if you can look past the chunky voxel graphics, you're going to find the trappings of a deep immersive world at work beneath the surface. Talk to or bribe just about anyone, take on bounty hunting mystery cases, be a freelance photographer, or just try your luck at breaking and entering as a way to pay the rent. This game is fantastic at capturing the feeling of poking around in other people's stuff and rummaging through their laundry. Although it's not 100% perfect, the procedural generation the game uses for the city, its inhabitants, and even the various missions and jobs you'll undertake are all incredibly detailed. Almost everything in the environment can be interacted with, from security systems to showers, and they all have an effect on your gameplay. An upgrade path with cyber augments looks to add even more potential. There's also a ton of ways to play even in this short taste of a demo, with plenty of vent crawling, box stacking, and passcode stealing to satisfy hardcore immersive Sin fanatics. I've got a feeling beyond a shadow of a doubt that we're gonna see more of this one in the coming year. Finally, here's some cool, weird niche stuff. Saga of Sins is a little slow to start, but it turns into an interesting, simplistic Metroidvania with some fast-paced platforming and demon-blasting action. During the dark times of the Black Plague, Cecile, a soldier recently returned from the Crusades, helps the population of the cursed village of Sinwell by performing intrusive mind invasions. Plus it starts out with petting a dog. Metroidvania mechanics and the obligatory upgrade tree rounds things out here, but the real standout is the stained glass aesthetic. Check out these cool demons, they be partying. Plus there's some decent voice acting and music tracks and a moderately challenging boss battle at the end to test your skills against. Dynopunk is the latest entry in the ever-growing list of games with the word punk in their name, but this one has dinosaurs wearing clothes, so I will give it a pass. Chase your dream of opening up an electronics repair shop in the big city, except this time, you can barely hold onto your tools with your tiny, ineffectual T-Rex arms. Dynopunk's gameplay consists of 1 part light business management, 1 part visual novel, and 1 part gluing scrap electronics to whatever phones and speakers get tossed your way. The writing feels fresh and funny, especially as your workstation berates you or your character points out his own physical shortcomings. The pixel art is beautiful, the soundtrack slaps with lo-fi dino beats you can study to, and overall I love this game's vibe. I can't wait to see more of it. Super 56 sends you on a one-way train straight to hell. As a participant in the cultural exchange program with Hell, your new roommates pressure you into playing the hot new game, Super 56, since the brain has no hands to push a button with, and the skeleton is tired from pushing buttons at the box factory all day. Super 56 is a stylish and bizarre collection of minigames featuring all the modern trappings like customization, loot crates, achievements, and level ups, as well as revolutionary one-button controls. That's right, every single menu selection and minigame is controlled by pushing or holding a single button. This makes for some pretty fun designs, like controlling a go-kart that can only turn left, or making this jolly dude change poses to match holes in a wall like a Japanese game show. Coupled with some quirky fun music that you can't help but bob your head along to and some unusual VHS scanline heavy presentation, Super 56 seems to be shaping up into a devilish little diversion. Finally, we have NecroNomNomNom, the Eldritch dating sim. It's a lighthearted jab at the dating sim genre with fantastic presentation and appropriately spooky atmosphere. Take an Eldritch hoarder out for a dinner date and see where the night goes. Will it be love at first bite, or will you become absorbed by the deep ones? Gameplay feels familiar to anyone that's played a visual novel before, as all of it consists of pointing, clicking, and making the occasional choices. But that's beside the point. Lovecraftian horror fans will fall for its tentacle-tickling humor, stacked with enough references and mind-bending puns to make you want to jump headfirst into the mouth of madness yourself. So there you go, a dozen more demos from the latest Steam Next Fest that I thought were pretty cool. These bright spots were scattered through the Steam Next Fest offerings like a bag of Skittles spilled onto the road, and not all these games aim for deep gameplay or mind-blowing graphics, but each one tries to do something a little different than the ordinary. Thanks again for watching, and if you made it this far and find what we do any kind of help to you, maybe consider tossing us a coin on our Ko-fi page, giving us a like and subscribe, and sharing this video with your buddies. Once again, my name is Boss Sauce, and we'll see you on the next Two-Headed Hero.